Hello and welcome to the COVID question with Martin Kelly and a lady on reel.
Hello and welcome to the COVID question with me, Martin Kelly, and I am joined by the lady Unreal. Now, if anybody listened to the trailer, you'll understand that the lady Unreal, although she was in our studio last time, she didn't actually speak to me. She was saving it all for the podcast. So fingers crossed, because we are now on the podcast, she's going to speak to me. Hello, my lady. How are you?
Hello.
She speaks. She speaks to me. How are you feeling? Are you okay?
Yeah, I guess you.
You guess. Okay. Okay, that's the way it's going to go. Welcome to the COVID question. Martin Kelly, Lady Unreal. And a few days ago, my lady, we were fortunate enough to speak to a guy called Steve Maddern, who helps run the response to coronavirus for Swindon. On behalf of Swindon Borough Council. I would have thought that was quite a useful chat that we had with him. What about you, my lady? Would you agree?
I mean, sure.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll tell you what, we'll play it through and we'll let the listeners decide whether it was interesting or not.
Okay.
Steve, thank you for joining us on the COVID question. I know you're very busy at the moment with government announcements and trying to introduce new policies and procedures into what you're doing. The hot topic that has come up to us over the past few days since it's been announced is the raising of some of the restrictions that are happening with over lockdowns, and particularly whether people should or should not be wearing masks. What's your take on this?
I think it's really important that we still encourage people to use and wear face coverings where appropriate, unless you're exempt. We know at this moment in time that there is a law that makes us have to wear masks in certain situations unless we are exempt. Going from the 19th of July, though, we know that actually that law will no longer exist, not just for masks, but also for social distancing and a whole load of other things. I think it's really important because we are seeing case rates increase again in Swindon, that if you're in an indoor area and it's crowded, or if you're using public transport, I think it's still really important that we wear a mask.
What about you, my lady? Will you be going maskless or will you be continuing to wear a mask?
I won't be wearing a mask, but only because I feel like it's not as bad as they say it is.
Oh, that's an interesting point. Steve, have you got anything to say about that? Because my lady is not the only person who thinks that.
No, I think that's a really valid point, and I think there's loads of people out there that probably don't understand the true details as to why COVID is a really serious issue. We know across Swindon we've had around about 13,000 cases since the start of the pandemic last year, and we've had around about 350 cases in the last week alone. So it is out there and it is spreading. I think for a lot of people, they don't get why COVID applies to them, and with the vaccination program in place now, people sometimes think a little bit less about it as well. But we know that COVID has a potential to severely impact on health. We know that there's a new condition called long COVID, which means that even if you've had COVID, you still have long-term consequences of having it, and you also risk potentially, it can be life-threatening. So there are many reasons why we should be believing in COVID at this moment.
Mm-hmm. Does that change your mind at all, my lady, or are you still thinking it's not going to happen for you?
No.
No. Okay. I mean, one of the things that I would raise with Steve at this stage is you as you say that cases in Swindon are raising at the moment. And it is still law at the moment to wear a face mask. So why are cases going up if we're still all supposed to be wearing face masks?
Well, I think we know that whenever we see an announcement to the change of rules, even if those rules are changing in a couple of weeks' time, people start to apply those announcements straight away. We know that face masks alone don't prevent the spread of COVID, and it's also about close proximity, how close you are to other people. It's also about your hand washing and things you're touching and people that you're coming into contact with. It's also about your vaccine status as well, so whether you've had the vaccine or not. So it isn't just about masks that prevent the spread of COVID. It's multiple things, and it's the doing those things or not doing them that helps us to see the increase in cases.
Okay, Milady, you got anything to add to that?
Just the fact that nearly half of there's only a quarter of the population that hasn't actually been vaccinated in the UK. So why are we changing the rules if people aren't being vaccinated?
So, yeah, I think what my lady there is saying, Steve, is that, we've got 3/4 of the population vaccinated. Why are we changing the rules now?
So that's exactly the reason why we're changing the rules, because the ambition from a national level was to make sure that 3/4 of the population had received their vaccine before we considered changing the rules. What we know from those people that have vaccinated is that transmission is, although it's increasing at this moment in time, it's not increasing to the level it would be if people weren't vaccinated. And we're also not seeing the people going into hospital, and we're not seeing people die of COVID in the numbers that we saw previously. So this is what brings us into a place which makes it easier for us to now change the rules. And from a Swindon perspective, we know that over 80% of people have had their first dose, and nearly 60% of people have had their second dose. So we're very much on the way to getting a really good level of protection across the borough.
Okay, so I think that just begs the question, Steve, to mask or not to mask? That is the COVID question.
I would still be encouraging people, if they are comfortable to mask, to make sure that you're masking in situations that are potentially indoors or crowded, and particularly public transport.
Okay, Steve Maddern, thank you very much. So that was Steve Maddern there, giving us his thoughts on the lifting of the mask bans and people not having to wear masks anymore. However, he thinks it's still a good idea. What about you, my lady? Do you still think it's a good idea, or will you be going maskless?
I've been going maskless the whole time, and I will continue to do so. But if you believe in it, sure, continue wearing your mask if you wish, or don't. It's your choice.
I think that's exactly right, actually, my lady. It's one of those occasions where I'm going to agree with you. It is your choice. I think as far as I'm concerned, I'm still going to be wearing mine. I mean, I am an old man these days, and I don't go out partying any much. And I think the concern that we've got, and the thing that we need to worry about, is we've got growing cases in amongst the under 40s. Now, you're in that age group, my lady. Does the number of cases that's increasing in that age group worry you at all?
I mean, there's probably part of the population that's not being vaccinated, whereas everyone above was the first to get vaccinated. So maybe that's why it's going up, but maybe it's not, because, I have different beliefs.
I know you do. But I think you've made a fair point there, because, it is the growing number of cases in amongst people that are in the age group that either haven't been vaccinated or haven't been fully vaccinated.
I have not had it, though.
No, I know. What, you've not had the vaccination, or you've not had coronavirus?
Both.
With a little giggle at the end. Okay, well, and there's a lot of people that haven't, but I would be, I don't like wearing masks, but I wear one to protect other people. And, when I'm on the bus or when I'm in a shop or something like that, I will wear one. But also when I'm out and about as well, because not necessarily for coronavirus, but because it's helped my hay fever an awful lot. So I think that I'm going to continue to wear one. Plus, even before the pandemic, I was asked to wear a mask. I don't know whether I should take that personally or not, but Apparently it helps with my appearance, but we'll not go into that. That's personal things that have been said to me. Boo-hoo. So I think on this point then, my lady, I think I've just got to ask you to mask or not to mask. That is the COVID question.
I won't be, but I'm not everyone's decider. If they choose to, they choose to. If they don't, then they don't. That's up to them.
So it's up to you. You've heard it from my lady. Folks, it's up to you. This has been the first episode of the COVID question with me, Martin Kelly, joined by the Lady Unreal. Also thanks to Steve Maddern, who joined us via Zoom a couple of days ago. Tune in for the next episode. Till then, goodbye, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Bye now.